Keisha Charmaine Felix, as well as Mr. Oren Saunders. Come on up, this is our office panel. You guys, I'm really excited about this. Oh, she no, go ahead. You guys, I'm really excited about this conversation today because I'm a new author as of 3 years. And so I always love to pick authors' brains, you know, just about the writing process, what makes them want to become a writer, or even in Mr. Oren Saunders' case, what made you want to collaborate, you know, with this dope man that I'm just learning about, you know, and how you were speaking of him earlier. Your eyeballs are so gleamy. And so I just want to know a couple of things, and so we're going to get started. So first, ladies first. First of all, you're so beautiful, Miss Keisha. And I've been following you on YouTube, and I'm so dope to meet you in person. You just give me alien vibes, alien Chloe vibes. And so I had the opportunity through Marion to look through your book, and I'm very proud of you. And what made me say, well, first let me introduce and say the name of your book. So the title of Miss Keisha Charmaine Felix's book is More Than a Hair Journey: The Black Woman's Guide to Self-Love and Lock Maintenance. And so as I was doing more research on you just to kind of have this conversation, I was inspired by the fact that you are really into self-love, and which is needed a lot of times today, since we always get tore down about everything, and even from the aspects of hairstyles not being accepted in schools, you know, what that process is about. So also, you know, just making sure that we all love ourselves. But what was the thing that said, all right, that's it, it's time to talk about self-love. I'm sick of saying X, Y, and Z. So,
well, I believe it came naturally when embarking on a lock journey. That's not anything I expected. I just wanted to start my locks. I had been relaxed for such a long time. I didn't really want to have to deal with maintaining an afro because I knew it was very time consuming, so I wanted to jump into the locks. And as I was going through the process of my hair transforming, I had a lot of self-doubt, and with my parents, I became really insecure about how pretty I looked. I thought I looked like a boy because my hair was really short. I thought it was messy. So I played around with wigs a little bit. And in that whole process, I realized that this journey is more than a hair journey. It's a self-love journey. And most of us don't realize that when we begin our life journey, but that's what it becomes. So that's why I started to talk about self-love. It really went hand in hand with a lock journey.
And I like that, how you share your personal journey and how your audience also connects with that journey, because a lot of times if an influencer or someone that we look up to don't really explain their authentic journey, you know, sometimes we think that they're perfect, you're already beautiful, you know, and you're already doing your thing. But when you share your authentic story, it touches other people. So like, I'm really proud of you for going that deep into your story, you know. And so I'm just going to point back and forth between the two of you and Mr. Oren. And so, Oren Saunders, first of all, it's always an honor to talk to you, you know. And so I had the opportunity to also look through authentic hair, and I got to make sure I say his name correctly, you know, Mr. Ademola Mandala. I didn't want to mess up his name, but when you were speaking of him and how he basically was your mentor, and I had the opportunity to look through the book, and considering your career, Mr. Oren, like you've been a CEO, a mentor, like you've really been paving the way for others, you know, what made you say, this is a project that I want to connect with? Like, what was that, this is something I want to connect with?
That's a great question. And I'm just, first of all, thank you. It's always good to see you. I love you. I love the Dirty Walker. And I just love your energy and everything. And then I had the opportunity to meet my beautiful sister here. You know, and we connected immediately. You know, this is my brethren. So So I'm just very honored to be sitting on a panel. I didn't even know she was all this big deal. I just know like, oh, this nice looking Chinese girl. And the fact she's like this major celebrity, I'm like, okay. I only found out that this morning. Because I'm not a social media person. And just introduce some sisters that, you know, that's something that Kofeli has tried for years to get me caught up. Like, oh, you got to look like that. I don't understand. So anyway, one of the things that had me start this journey, actually, when I do mention Ademola Mandela started what was called Keianna's African Groomers in Brooklyn, right? And that was in 1985, right? And it was inside of Fulton Street. Those who know Brooklyn, Fulton Street was a crack haven, right? So when we got into the salon in the mornings, we had to sweep the crack vials out of in front of the store. But he insisted to put that inside of the community, and he's a designer, a trained designer, clothing designer. So he decided to do natural hair for men, so that they could have a place of esteem that black men and after that women came. But there's also a place of where black people can come in and be honored with their hair. And we, back in the day, we couldn't smoke inside of our salons. This is 85, you couldn't curse, you couldn't say anything derogatory about women or any aspect of the diverse community, whether you're gay, whatever. We didn't encourage that kind of stuff. So that was a protocol and a culture that we had established. And I was asked to come and computerize the business. I was a computer person at the time. And I got there, and I was like, look, I don't work for anybody, I'm gonna come. I'm going to be here for a couple of days, a couple of months, get this thing done, and I'm moving to Atlanta. This is 1988. That was like 3 years after he's been in this stuff. So I can't take any credit for Keianna. However, when I joined, it was such a marvelous place. You know when something speaks to your spirit? It's like it was the culture, the atmosphere, the beauty, the talent. It was our culture. Like totally, the people that were coming, it was like family, you know? So I was like, oh, okay. And my trip to Atlanta didn't go as fast as I thought it would. And then the next thing I know, I was like I was part of the management team for the time I was there. And you know, those of us who've been a natural here, especially if you're a stylist and you own an establishment, sometimes we do have the divas that come to work with us. So they don't show up for work and all kinds of stuff. So he says, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make every manager here know how to do hair. That time was barbering and locks. So I was trained as a barber. We did all of our training in-house for everything. We took people from raw. So that's why I learned to be good barbering. And I started as a barber. And when the divas don't come in, or the divas, I would come down from the office and go cut hair. You know, a bunch of us were like that were managing the salons. We had like 3 salons. We were doing clothing. It was just a fabulous place. So, well, my main journey that I personally started a long journey, since in 1980 somebody, I started a business with my brother. We were in Manhattan too, in Wall Street, and we were doing processing service. We were processing service for lawyers. And I was working in accounting and bookkeeping before, and my brother, he wanted to start something. He said, well, I don't know what to do. I said, okay, I'll leave my job and come and do it with you. So that's how I started. I was decided that that's it. And when I started working with Keianna, I decided to do LOCS because my intention that I would never ever go into corporate America.
Okay.
So, you know, at that time, if you had locks, you could not step into the door. So that was my opportunity to remind myself not to do that. So my hair was that journey, the start of that journey. And like many of the things was a lot of self-love, was a lot of understanding of authentic hair, and it just took all kinds of places, and I never left. So that was always me. I think there's more, but I give it back to you. I know you got more questions.
No, I'm just excited that y'all sharing your story. We're going to point it back to Miss Keisha. So, Miss Keisha, your office journey. So we all know your journey, you know, recording, sharing love, sharing your authentic truth. What made you say, okay, it's time to put it in a book so we have a lasting legacy? And what was the inspiration behind your cover?
Well, to be honest, when I first started writing this book, it was when I quit my job abruptly. I quit my job, and I've always been a writer. I've always been into writing poems, short stories, and I would have a journal or a diary. So writing is just always very cathartic for me. So I knew that I had a lot of supporters, subscribers who were interested in like a deeper look into my journey. So that's essentially what a big part of my book is about, just a deeper dive into my own experience with my LOCS journey. And as I wrote it, I came to more realizations of my journey, even more so than when I was actually living the journey. And that's what writing does for you. Like, it really helps you to really dive deeper. So yeah, that's when I started writing it. When I quit my job abruptly, I was like, listen, Keisha, I need to bet on myself at this point. I'm not going back to social work, which is what I was doing. And that's when I was more serious with my YouTube channel. And I wrote this when I was 25. Yeah.
Oh, you're old.
I am older than that, yes.
You look like 90.
Seriously, black don't crack.
Gotta pop that.
And Mr. Warren, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever thought, with all your many years of, of putting into this industry, have you ever thought to, and the mentorship and all that stuff we spoke of before, your clientele, your business sense, have you ever thought to write your own book? And, either it be a business book, whatever. Have you ever thought to write your own book? And when it's going to come out?
Thank you for that question. I've been fortunate to have a lot of people that are like literary people that do editing and those kind of things. And while they're in the chair, I will be telling them the stories. One of the things that they always said about locks and chops, like since in the 90s, I thought like 91, 92, they said you guys should be a reality show. They always say that, and they're still saying it. You should be, because I'll be talking and things, because they will be cracking up and just talking about the different journey, different things that we've experienced. And some people also, oh, you gotta write the book, you gotta write the book. I'm like, I don't know to write. Oh, come on now. And they said, oh, just jot stuff down, it doesn't matter. So I actually did pick up the pen and start to writing some thoughts and just start to write like little episodes of different things happening. I was kind of fascinated by what came through, and I never thought it would come so easily, the flow. So I'm still in that process. I started about 3 years ago, and then, life shows up, you do what you do, and then, it's time to go back to it, and things again like that. But I have considered that. And yes, it will be, it'll be a book of the journey, but and also, I don't know if it's that book, but there's a lot of things in experience. Because one of the things that I do, I don't train hairstylists. I train entrepreneurs, right? And what my training is that I create an environment. so that their natural talent can grow. So that's what we do, and that's what I've been doing for a number of years. You know, that's what we have the Felix, and the Derek, and the Jetties. I don't know if you know these people, but these are all fascinators inside the natural hair industry, you know. So it's always like fertile ground to create that. So the book will have some of that. I don't know which one is going to be, if it's going to be a part to put that in it, or if it's just a book on business, because there's so many other things that I got to distinguish, like Keisha says. Like Keisha says that you start to distinguish, as you say, you start to understand. I've really had an opportunity to start to distinguish things, and there's some just little key things, like what's the difference in being an employer and an employee, and what's the mindset that comes with that. You know, like, so I don't know where it's going to show up, but it might be one book, might be 2 books. I don't know. So that's it.
I can't wait for it to come out. Like, seriously, even when you was talking about, you know, every time I hear about locks and chops, there's lots of chops. We had so much fun. We this, that, and that. I would love to hear read an anthology of all your employees. Everybody contributed to this one book, sharing their hype stories. What?
They're really great stories.
Yeah, and I want to read them. I want to read them. And so thanks for sharing.
Keianna contributed a lot of it with his laughter and his wit.
No, I'm gonna say this. I watched a video about 2-3 weeks ago of one of your interviews. Kefele was there, and y'all was talking about y'all hair models, and y'all was so poised speaking. So I get to see y'all silly at different events, and then see y'all. Yes, and this hairstyle means XYZ, XYZ. So it's good to see. And then I'm going to ask. Let me look at my notes, y'all, because I was just jotting like just doodling and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, Keisha, like, what is, with all that you've done, where do you see you going in 5 years? Like, with all that you contribute a lot, you know, and I don't want you to ever feel like, you know, because I know sometimes people say YouTube is just like you contributed to a lot of people because so many people have had an impact off your voice. You know, and so your voice matters, your voice is dope, you know, and you're definitely, this is just legacy at this point. So where do you see from this point to 5 years from now with your author journey, the selling? You got jail, you laying down people's edges now. What is your 5 year from now dream?
Well, definitely I'll have more books. I actually have a children's book coming out later this year. So I have a young adult book that hopefully will be coming out early next year. It's not finished, I'm still working on that. But as far as me, in 5 years, I intend to be a little less visible on social media. Yeah, I have about 11 years of myself on the internet. When you think about it, it's kind of weird to have that much of yourself out there. So I do want to step back a bit, but I'll definitely be working on distributing our products on a larger scale. So I'm working on getting an office space so I can hire more staff to be able to put out more products. So in 5 years, hopefully, I'm sure that'll be sooner than 5 years, but I'll be able to mass produce. Ideally, I'll be able to distribute in other countries because I do have a lot of following in the Caribbean, in Africa, and in England. So I would like to have distribution all over. So hopefully in 5 years, I'm at that point.
I wish you luck, girl. I really do. And then let me look at Orange's last question. Let's see. What would you, like, for this last question or last contribution to this author's panel, like, what is it that you want to say to new stylists that keeps that authentic, I don't know, like, even from the production of this book, they don't make quality and host productions of that quality from back then. It's like people just kind of put it out there. So like for a stylist like me and new stylists, like what advice would you give to keep that authentic quality that will last a lifetime in this industry?
Thank you. I just got to say, this girl is on fire. Woo! So I didn't really, in your last question, really talk about the book. So the book is called Authentic Here, and it was, the author is Ademola Mandela. I was supposed to be part of the ownership of the book. However, we made the decision to separate our businesses, and he went with the book, and we had products. We used to have products back in the day, in the 80s, you know, and he went with that, and I stayed with service, right? And my major contribution, although I'm one of the models in here. If you look at the book and see a real handsome looking guy, that's me. One of the handsome looking guys. Well, I'm here. I gotta show you. But what I would say has been my contribution is as I was basically the person at LOCS and Chops. I was quite an enterprise. It was not just here. We did clothing, we did training, we did we did a lot of stuff, you know. And in order to get this book in, because Ademola Mandela and I became business partners after Keianna school. That's how LOCS and Chops came. So LOCS and Chops always started with me. And then he came on and said, oh, I'll do this with you. He did well. And, but the thing about Ademola Mandela, he's a consummate genius, an artist. This man will produce. It's just amazing. So you also gotta get a person, I'm a Capricorn. They say Capricorn's like the hold on to the money. I don't know how true it is. But I'm a Capricorn, and I used to say, Mandela, we got no more money. But I had money stocked away, because I know we want to get this book done. So I really, I can say like that's my legacy, in particular to this book, other than being a stylist, because I produced some of the styles also in this book. Being one of the stylists in the book. And the actual person on the book, the model, she was a major dancer. I can't remember the company she started to dance with. Melissa, yeah. But you know, those from Brooklyn know back in the day with Kevin, Jeff, and all that kind of stuff. And what she has on here is cosmic locks. It's lock extensions. And this is when we started LOCS extensions. And I actually started LOCS extensions. Yeah, and we being in the forefront and talking about people of black, you know, we be fantasizing, oh yeah, we're going to be black with LOCS, and we're going to be driving on moonbeams, and all that kind of stuff. So we say, cosmic LOCS. So that's how cosmic LOCS. And also, inside of this book, a lot of the styles, like Bantu knots, that's ours called. Bantu knots is a style from, is a West African style. But Bantu knots was given for when we did a lot of, no, Bantu is a South African, is a Southern African style. And that came in to when Nelson Mandela was released. We did a whole series on Nelson Mandela, and we named all our styles. That's where you get Nubian twists. We always talk about, we never use the word dreads, we always say we're African locks, because we always claim it.
Hello everybody. I will say, is this thing on? It's so good to be back. This year I'm only doing one model, and that's Miss Keisha Charmaine. She is an amazing online influencer and product developer, product company owner, and I'm just really honored to style her long, beautiful locks. Yes. So we're going to do an elegant updo style for her today. If the DJ could just give us some nice, a hot beat, you know, it's going to take me a few minutes to get this style done, so I'm not going to talk while I do it. But you all enjoy it. If you want to come up to the runway and watch some of the techniques that are being done, I have no problem with that. If you want to talk to me afterwards, just talk to me afterwards. I got business cards. I'm from Madam Walker's Jewelry and School in Temple Hills, Maryland. We are a salon and we're also a school. We certify people to do natural hair care and locking. And if you would like to take your career to another level, a professional level, get at me afterwards. I'm so excited to see one of my graduates here, Mr. Zaye. And from what I understand, I never listened to your stage presentation today, so it'll just be, I'm gonna feel like a proud lock pop-up up here watching Zaye up here tear the stage up. So I'm gonna go and get Miss Keisha Charmaine prepped, and we're gonna get this show on the road, everybody. Once again, I'm Shanti Walker, and if you wanna find me on any social media platforms, that's SHANTI Walker, okay? And Madam Walker's Gradery and School. All right, DJ, give me some hot. Let's get this party started.